If you are doing B2B outbound sales at any volume, your sales operation has a critical weakness. You spend hours creating a list of qualified prospects, but when you need to find the emails, you only find 40 to 50% of them. Today, I will show you a waterfall system that fixes that. It searches email across different email providers and allows you to find more emails so that your sales team does not turn into a research team and you are able to reach out to your entire market. With that said, let's get started. Before showcasing the N8N system, let's start with a definition of lead enrichment and waterfall enrichment. For lead enrichment, our goal over here will be to find the email based on contact information and then verify the email to make sure that we can send over that email. The most important thing over here when it comes to finding the email is understanding which kind of information we need to find that. There could be thousands of different email enrichment providers that you can look at the web. In the end, the information that you might need are essentially these four data points. You need the first name of the person that you need to reach out to, the last name of the person, the website, so their specific company where they work with. Website is always better than having the company name because in that way it can find the domain based on the website. And then finally the LinkedIn URL. There are some specific email enrichment tools that use the LinkedIn URL, um, especially to find the contact information. But if you have these four data points, you can find information about of almost any single prospect. Next up is how waterfall enrichment works. So over here, we have the first enrichment provider that we might use to find the email. And this is this part over here. So this could be any kind of tool such as Prospeo, such as StrikeIt, such as Lead Magic. I will show you a couple tools in a second also for that. So what we are doing here is we are sending information such as first name, last name, and company name slash domain to say, do you have an email of this specific person? If the tool has an email, we go back to email verification, and this same waterfall enrichment process can be done for email verification as well. If that doesn't happen, we go to the next email provider and so on. The advantage of having this kind of system over here for finding emails is the fact that you can find a lot of more emails, but you have some increased cost. So there's always a balance that you need to do between the amount of tools that you want to use and the amount of emails that you want to find for the contact information that you have available. With that said, let me show you the actual system within N8N itself. Here we are only tackling the part where we already find the contact information. So we already have first name, last name, and company name. And if you want more information about that, you can check my AP5 video on that. I will go more in depth on how you can use all sorts of different scrapers to find that information. This system transforms the information that we have available into emails using different tools. The input information that we are passing over to the system is the following over here: first name, last name, LinkedIn URL, and website, as I told you before. And the first thing that we are focusing on within the system is searching if the email is already present. The reason for that is that there are some tools such as Apollo that allows you to have emails already. So we can skip this part related to enrichment and we can go directly to the verification step. For now, this is not important in our specific instance, but what we can check is we can check the verification aspect. Within the global settings, what we have over here is we have this element called the waterfall enrichment. This allows us to add many more services if we wanted to, but while keeping the same architecture that we have over here. So here we have this waterfall enrichment element. We are splitting out this waterfall enrichment element, and this allows to cycle through the different enrichment providers and check whether that provider gave us a valid email or not. This is the essential of the verification system. Next up over here, we check if the information is present, if we actually have that information. And then, as I mentioned over here, we switch over different service providers. In this specific instance, we just use two of them. We use Prospeo. This is a email enrichment provider, the first one that we are using. Over here, you can see different prices and different options that we have with Prospeo. This is one of the best one. And the other one that we use over here is TryKit. The reason why we use TryKit instead of any other tool is that TryKit has a pay-as-you-go component. Meanwhile, most of other tools have a monthly subscription basis. So that is essentially the reason for that. Another tool that I would suggest over here that could be implemented is Lead Magic. The reason for that is that Lead Magic has also a bunch of different additional features, such as finding employees of a specific company, find a specific job role, and all sort of things like that. In this case, we'll just focus on these two elements over here. So we'll focus on Prospero and we'll focus on TrackIt. So the first part is the enrichment itself. Within the enrichment, essentially, we are sending an API call to say to um, we are sending an API call to Prospero and ask for the email and whether that email is present within their database. If the email is found, if the contact is found over here, we go to the email part. So this part is essentially used to transform the email into a standardized format. And then we pass this over to the verification flow. The verification flow is a second step over here. And again, over here, we have the same functionality, the same formatting, and the same options that we are using. In here, we have a verification waterfall. So we use two tools for the verification waterfall. We use Rion or we use Million Verifier. Keep in mind, both in this system as well as in this system, we can add as many verification tools as possible because we don't have problems on that side of things. And the beauty of that is that we can just go here, remove a TryKit, for example, and say like remove the TryKit in the following way, and the system will just run using Prospeo. So that is a huge advantage if you want to start off and experiment with different tools. For the verification, we are doing essentially the same thing over here, going through the different verification systems. We are checking on the email itself. Verification means actually having an understanding of whether the email can be delivered or not, to not have bounce rates and not have problems with deliverability. If the email is present, we pass this over to an additional layer over here, which is a email verification standardizer. The reason why we use this additional component is so that we just pass over the information into a specific format. Um, this is because all sort of tools get the information in a format and then output the information in a different format, which is never the same. So you could find tools such as Million Verifier that said that status is valid, but other tools could have a status such as okay or works or whatever the case might be. So we need a way to make sure that everything is standardized, and that is why we have this additional sub workflow. Once we pass everything to this workflow, we set the verification status over here, and then we standardize the response that we are sending back to the previous element. So over here, we are sending information such as what is the email, what is the email status, what is the vendor, what is the RAS status, and what is the role number. The reason why we are sending this part over here is that in some instances we can apply this to Google Sheets, or we can apply this to Airtable or whatever kind of tool where we have all the leads stored, and use that, and then all the information is passed back directly over here. So this is the verification flow. And finally, what we have in this instance is we pass over the webhook response that we got in the verification flow with all the information that we have over here. So we pass the email, we pass the email status, verification vendor, verification status, verification quality, as well as enrichment vendor. those kind of information, such as the enrichment vendor, the verification vendor, the status quality, are really important because they allow us to have an understanding of how many leads did we enrich within a specific platform, how many are relevant for specific situations or others or specific industries. So, for example, if you are enriching a lot of prospect from recruitment and you see that Prospeo works, you can just use Prospeo and you don't need to rely on another element, another email enrichment provider. So yeah, there is that. And finally, over here, we send this information back to Google Sheets or wherever we store all our different information about the email provider. Last thing that we do at the end is um, this is done if we didn't find any information, or if we cycle through all the different enrichment providers that we have and didn't find any information. So in the end, we set this specific response to like email not found if not information is found, and then this information is sent back to a Google Sheets or Airtable or whatever kind of tool we use, so that in this instance we don't have any kind of problem on that side. This is the full system for enrichment. This could be used right now. This is used for 2 different email providers. uh, More and more could be added, and the system is as scalable as possible. And the only thing that is needed over here is just changing the enrichment waterfall over here, as well as in email verification, so that you can select which kind of providers you want to use. And that is the only element that needs to be done. So yeah, that was a cool system, recent system that we built out. Let me know if you're interested in building systems like that and more around the sales and marketing space. Happy to talk together with you. With that said, that's everything for this video. Hope to talk to you soon. Bye.